If your next door neighbor had a child who was starving, what would you do? Would you help? Would you give the child some of your extra food? Would you find a way to get the child some food? And how far would you be willing to go in order to help? Would you go without food yourself so that the child could eat? There's another great story in Luke's gospel. A man came to Jesus and asked him what he needed to do to get to heaven. Jesus replied by asking a question himself. He said, "What is written in the law?" The Jewish people strove to live by the law, which is found in the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Bible. The man replied, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." To this, Jesus said, "You've given the right answer. Do this and you will live." But the man pressed Jesus for clarification, asking, "And who is my neighbor?" Jesus replied with a story. A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell into the hands of robbers, who stripped him, beat him, and went away, leaving him for dead. Now by chance, a priest was going down that road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So likewise, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw the man, he passed by on the other side of the road. But a Samaritan, while traveling, came near him, and when he saw him, he was moved with pity. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, having poured oil and wine on them. Then he put him on his own animal and brought him to an inn and took care of him. The next day, he took out 2 denarii, gave them to the innkeeper and said, "Take care of him, and when I come back, I will repay you whatever more you spend." Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers? The man said, "The one who showed him mercy." Jesus said to him, "Go then and do likewise." In many ways, we live in a world without neighbors today. Many people don't even know who their next door neighbors are. And too often, if a child were starving next door, we wouldn't even know. So who is my neighbor? Lately, I've been thinking a lot about this. My wife and I have 3 beautiful children, and we do all we can to see that they have all they need physically, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. We're blessed materially, and we're blessed financially. But 22% of the children in America live in poverty. That's more than 16 million children. And while they may not live next door, they are my neighbors. And more than that, they are my brothers and sisters in Christ. And this is just America. There are 2.2 billion children in the world, and 1 billion of them live in poverty. 21,000 children die from poverty around the world every day. That's 1 child every 4 seconds. That's 14 children dying every minute. And 31 children who have died since we started talking about this just over 2 minutes ago. They die quietly in some of the poorest villages on earth, far removed from the scrutiny and the conscience of the world. Being meek and weak in life makes these dying multitudes even more invisible in death. These children, they're our neighbors. But even more than that, they're our family. They're our brothers and sisters in Christ. They are children of God. What's the difference if a starving child lives next door or across the ocean? They're still God's children. And as always, God has a plan for His children, but He needs your help to fulfill His plan. Are you willing to set your plan aside and embrace God's plan? If enough people are willing to do that, the world will become much more just and much kinder and be rid of so much unnecessary suffering.